Once you have started the AWS Management Console, this is normally what you see. We would like to go to the EC2, and from here we will want to start the create the Hadoop cluster, but not directly as a EC2 instance, but by using this thing called AMI. So coming in, you see I have already set it up. What you need to do is to copy this ID. Okay, here I have it already. You want to copy this ID from the node. So normally when you log in, it's empty. I want you to change to public images and select AMI ID, and now copy and paste the ID that I have in the instruction. You can of course enter also AMI name, right, as given in the instruction, or even there's instruction about the owner ID, but I think the most straightforward is to use the AMI ID because this is the unique ID that will bring you directly to this image. You can also select on this and you can see information about the instance, including this is a newly updated image this year, and it will also be active for the next 2 years. So once this is ready, you can come here to click on Launch Instances, right? And now you come to this screen. What you need to do here is to give a name. I will want to call it Master because this will be first the master node. And you see the operating system is pre-selected, so it's already installed inside. For the instance type, by default, it's always T3 Micro. Here I want you to select something faster, which is then a T3 Small, that you can see it will give you 2 GB of memory instead of 1 from the micro. This should be more than enough memory for the processes we would like to go through. And then for the key pair, you can leave it as nothing. That means by default you can proceed without a key pair, but if you want you can also select Voki, which is the key pair pre-set up, right, for you in the AWS Learner Lab itself. And next you want to create a new security group, and by default you will get a name. If you have never created any instance, then you'll be Launch Wizard 1. You may have something like Wizard 2, 3, that's possible. So remember the name, right, when you create this. Finally, you may want to look at the storage and all this. I would say you can leave it as default. You don't have to change anything. Based on the instruction I've given for the lab, it will be one that you create first the master node, and then you can repeat this to create the worker node number 1 and number 2. But for simplicity's sake, you can also put 3 and create all 3 at one go. Alright, so in the lab that you get from me, you'll be creating it one by one, and here I also give you a shortcut that you can just create 3 at one go. So cross check, this is the image. You're creating T3 Small. You will create a new security group, and also the volume will be the default value. So once you click Launch Instance, you can see it will begin the launch. So 3 has been created, and if you now go back to the dashboard, you see 3 is running and they are initializing. So at this moment we can wait, but I think it will be a good time for us to go to the security ID. So let me see, where's the security group? Oh, couldn't see it here, must be somewhere down here. Security group, wait, okay, that's under security, sorry. So you can see it's named after Launch Wizard. Here you have the default SSH being enabled, and outgoing is all traffic. What I want you to do now is to go to Inbound Rules, click on Edit Inbound Rules, and you can then add a new rule. First, custom, not custom, you want to add all TCP, but you want to make sure only Launch Wizard group, right, Launch Wizard 1 people, that means instances that has the Launch Wizard 1 security group can have access to all TCP. And in similar way, we would like to have the all ICMP also to be allowed for Launch Wizard. So you can see here C315 and also C315, and this should be correct. So you can click Save Rules. Now it is configured that whichever instance that has Launch Wizard 1 will be able to have SSH access coming in, can receive those requests. Also TCP that belong to the same security group, and also ICMP, which is for the ping exercise. So you can now go back to instances, take a look. If it's still under initializing, then we have to wait. At this moment, I would like you to make a copy of the IP address, because that's the next thing we will need. Okay, it will take a bit more long. We just wait. Yeah, while waiting, there's one more thing we can do, is to set the name so that we also can recognize them by the assigned name. I think this is more, let's say, more clear, right? Clearer for us to carry out our exercise so that we know which machine is which. So what we want to do now is to wait for master node to be ready, and once ready, we want to connect to the server. So you can see the IP address is also not listed yet. Okay, they are here for sure. Okay, still not done. That means if we want to connect here, it wouldn't work also. So let's just get ready. I have the old screen here. Alright, you can see at this point the booting is completed, so all the check passed. Now we can log in. So this is the IP. Let's just copy one, go to connect, and look for EC2 instance connect. Now by using username Ubuntu, you can now click connect, and you will enter into this screen. Okay, so at this point, I want you to type sudo, and this is where you can update the IP address. So first remove the older address or the default one, and you can now paste. You can see master's IP address has been updated, and now you can continue with the second instance. This is the IP address. Now the second one has been added, and we can delete the third one. And let's go to slave 2. Click on this to copy the private IP, and now finally paste it. What I want to do before you save the file, highlight these 3 lines, copy, because we can now replicate this to the other 2 instances. But before you change, remember, once this is done, press Ctrl X. It will ask you whether you want to save the modified buffer. You say yes. It will ask you what name. You just press enter, because we want to overwrite the file. You want to double check, just go in and take a look. If the IPs are the one that you have just updated, means this is completed. So at this point, you can leave it, and we will also come now to the next one, which is slave 1, Ubuntu, and connect. Let's repeat this for the next one. Let's go back to instances, and now save 2, sorry, same thing, Ubuntu, under EC2 instance connect, press connect. Now you can see I have 3 of them here. First, you can identify by looking here. This is master. The next one you can see, how come it's master here? This is slave 2. So this is master, means this is the wrong one. So I will want to quit and come back. So I must have chosen the wrong one. So let's come back, make sure it's slave 1, click connect, double check, slave 1, all good. So I must have wrongly typed or selected. Okay, so I have slave 2 ready, then I have slave 1 coming up soon. Okay, this is how you can differentiate. I have done this on master, and I have now started slave 2 and also slave 1, and we repeat the steps. And now you don't have to change because you have already copied all 3, so you don't have to do it one by one. You can press Ctrl K to delete the whole line. That will be a bit faster. Same thing, Ctrl X, press yes, and now enter to confirm the name. And we can now go to slave 2 and do the same thing. You can see 3. Now I will just press Ctrl K to remove the old one and paste the new IP, and then we are done. Press yes and enter. How do you know this is working? You can always now press the ping and master. If you have tried this before you modify the host name, right, and the IP, you wouldn't give you any reply. But now, since the IP has been configured to the different host name, now these 3 machines, they all know what are the IPs of master, slave 1 and slave 2. And this is also because the Hadoop service that has been configured on the AMI recognize all the machines not by IP addresses but by the host name. So it will know which one is playing the role of the master and which 2 are playing the roles of the worker node. So when this is done, you can now go back to the master node, double check master, and we can really do the next step. So let me do a clear. If you look at the instruction, let me check. Okay, the next step will be let me see, configuring the cluster, right? Let me take a look at the instruction. Security are done, the hosts are done. Now we are in part 4. So the next thing you need to do is to change your user into Hadoop. So this command basically allows you to change from Ubuntu to Hadoop, where you can see the username is no longer Ubuntu but Hadoop. And this is because as Hadoop, you can now use the Hadoop software. As Ubuntu, you wouldn't be able to find it. Like for example, Java is no problem, but if you put HDFS, it wouldn't be able to find it. But here you can run it and it will give you the version accordingly, means the system supports and is configured correctly. So let's wait a bit. And after that, you can also run the third command, Hadoop home, right? And it will give you also the command correctly. So you can check this out. Okay, so you can see this is the correct directory of Hadoop, where Hadoop is being stored. So at this point, we know the cluster is set up, and we need to now move to part 5, which is how to set up the name node, and that will be this command, hdfs name node format. And as I've mentioned in the lab sheet, when you do this command, you have to make sure you only do it once when you create the cluster. The next time when you restart the cluster, there's no need to reformat, right, the name node or initialize it for the second time. So you can see when you press enter, you say this doesn't exist. It will prepare it, it will create the name node. You can see all the information about it, right, being run. I think I pressed it too much. And if this is what you see on your screen, means this also took place successfully, then we are ready to start the Hadoop cluster. So let's use startall.sh to begin. So this is how the cluster can be started, and then it will be ready for you to use. So you can see master node has been added, also the 2 worker nodes, and you will configure and get ready. And at this point, you are ready to work on the next commands. So in order to test your cluster, I would suggest that you can do 5.3, 5.4, and for those here, you can also see the command that I typed. To check the cluster, you can always do a ls/, which it will check what is in the cluster, and you see there's nothing because it is a brand new cluster. So what we can do is we can use the command -mkdir, which means make directory, and we can create the first folder called user. And if you now go to ls root, you can see now user exists. And of course, the next folder I want you to work on would be user Hadoop. And again, you can check the content. There you can see it's Hadoop. And of course, if you put Hadoop here, it will be a blank folder because we have not copied anything into the folder. So the next few steps, let me clear the console. I want you to go into the data folder where we have stored all the data set and also example code here. So first thing, I want you to try to unzip word count. You can see these are the Java code of the MapReduce for word count program. Secondly, we also want to unzip the Shakespeare file. That you can see there are 4 files in this data set, and the final step for this demo will be how you can upload the data into the cluster, and that is done by using Hadoop FS, which is the Hadoop file system. You put the command -put, and you can say I want to upload Shakespeare, which is the folder Shakespeare here that has been extracted, into the root folder. So after this command, if you recheck the content of your Hadoop cluster, which is what we had earlier, let me just go back to this directory, right? You can see when you list the folder, you no longer see only user, but you can also see the Shakespeare folder being listed. And that's how you have completed this exercise in setting up the Hadoop cluster. And before we end, I would like to remind you, a good practice whenever you are done is to do a stop all sh so that you shut down the Hadoop cluster before you turn off the machines. Okay, so this is how you can click on this, and you can wait for the cluster to end. And by at this point, it's safe to even just turn off the instances or leave it, right? And this is how you can also finish your practice. If you want to be very sure, you can also go back to Ubuntu. Let me put here. Alright. Oops, I think I pressed too much, so I'm out. But one way that you can shut down the machine is to do this command. It will actually power down the machine. So this is actually the proper way. Oh, sorry, I have to do it as a super user. It's not a must, but I think this is definitely a cleaner way to shut down the machines accordingly. So you can see I can do this and then it will shut down. So what we want to do is to make sure all three machines are stopped correctly. Then that's where it will be stopped. Okay, so one last thing, if you look at the instruction in part 8, I did say, when you're done, you can do the stop all, and then you should stop the services, which means you can come here, you come to instance state and press stop instances. This is equivalent to how you want to shut down the operating system so that the machines are indeed turned off properly. You may also see there's a terminate function here. Terminate is only needed if you really want to save money and destroy whatever you have set up, because you will not use it anymore. Once terminated, the resources will be free up, but that also means you cannot recover this instance next time. So if you still need to use it, the way to save money, that it doesn't cost more money, is to stop the instance. But for the space that you have occupied and also the other things, they will still cost a little bit. Okay, so you can see at this point the instances have been stopped, and if you now close this, you should be able to see all three of them are here. So with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video.